I'll be reading from the April 30th edition of the Kenton Bee. This reading of the Kenton Bee is in place of the Buffalo Rocket that might be heard at 8:30 a.m. on Saturdays because the Buffalo Rocket was unavailable. So from the Kenton Bee, from the front page, Veteran of the Quarter. Jennifer Valentine was chosen as the Veteran of the Quarter in the city of Tonawanda. There's a picture here of Valentine and Mayor Bill Strasburg, Council Member Susan Gregg. Valentine is the daughter of Susan and Bob Gregg. Born and raised in Tonawanda, Valentine is a 1995 graduate of Tonawanda High School. After graduation, she attended Boston University and graduated with a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Upon graduation from BU, she was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force and served as a communications information officer until her honorable discharge in 2007. Her first duty station was Travis Air Force Base, where she was assigned to the 615th Air Mobility Operations Squadron. At Travis, her team led the Air Force in deploying deployable communications equipment in support of U.S. Transcom Global Reach Laydown mission. She also deployed twice to Southeast Asia in support of Operation Cobra Gold, a joint multinational exercise, and was selected to be the first ever second lieutenant to coordinate AMOS support for Cobra Gold in unit history. In 2001, she was stationed at Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina, where Valentine served as the director of the Network Operations Center, maintenance flight commander for the 43rd Communications Squadron, and as the executive officer for the 18th Air Operations Support Group. In 2002, she was deployed to Seeb Air Base in Oman in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Her team directly supported C-130 air operations in Afghanistan. For her efforts, she was recognized as Pope Air Force Base's Armed Forces Communications Electronic Association Soldier of the Year in 2003. In 2005, she was selected to attend the Air Force Institute of Technology at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, a program with a 1% selection rate. Upon completion of AFIT, Valentine received her Master of Science in Information Resource Management. Additionally, her master's thesis was selected to be presented at the International Command and Control Research Technology Symposium at Cambridge University in 2006. In 2006, Valentine served on headquarters staff in the United States Air Forces in Europe at Ramstein Air Base, Germany. Her accountabilities included being the program manager for the Combat Information Transport System program and was responsible for upgrade the telecommunications infrastructure for each of the Air Force bases across Europe. Valentine separated from the Air Force in 2007, achieving the rank of captain. She currently lives in East Aurora with her husband Jeffrey and their 3 children, Weston, Megan, and Henry. Her awards include Meritorious Service Medal with 1 oak leaf cluster, Air Force Commendation Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Global War of Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, and Global War of Terrorism Service Medal. Town of Tonawanda reminds residents about the adopted fair housing policy. The Town of Tonawanda has adopted a comprehensive fair housing plan aimed at ensuring all residents have equal access to housing opportunities while reinforcing protections against discrimination at every level of the housing process. Town officials say the plan reflects a broader commitment to equity and inclusion with a focus on education, enforcement, and collaboration with housing stakeholders. Central to the initiative is a fair housing brochure that outlines residents' rights and explains what constitutes illegal discrimination under federal, state, and local laws. The town has also designated a fair housing officer who will serve as a key resource for residents. Individuals who believe they have been subject to discriminatory housing practices can seek guidance, file complaints, and receive assistance navigating the process. The officer will also help connect residents with enforcement agencies, including the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and the New York State Division of Human Rights. Officials say the plan is not only about addressing discrimination after it occurs, but also about preventing it. By working closely with home builders, landlords, managers, and federal housing partners, the town hopes to encourage the development of a wider range of housing options and ensure fair practices are followed throughout the community. Broad legal framework. The Fair Housing Plan draws on a long-standing framework of civil rights laws designed to protect individuals from discrimination. Among them is the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which guarantees all U.S. citizens the same rights to buy, sell, and own property. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 expanded those protections by making it illegal to discriminate in the sale or rental of housing based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Subsequent amendments and related laws have broadened those protections to include additional categories such as familial status, disability, age, military status, and sexual orientation. The Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988, for example, strengthened enforcement mechanisms and added protections for individuals with disabilities and families with children. The plan also incorporates provisions from other federal laws, including Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination in programs receiving federal funding, and the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, which bars discrimination in federally funded housing programs. Additional protections are provided under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Age Discrimination Act of 1975. The town's plan outlines a wide range of discriminatory practices that are illegal under fair housing laws. These include refusing to sell or rent a property, setting different terms or conditions for certain individuals, or advertising housing in a way that limits who may apply. Other prohibited actions include falsely claiming that housing is unavailable, steering prospective tenants or buyers toward or away from certain neighborhoods, and engaging in blockbusting, a practice in which property owners are pressured to sell based on the false claim that certain groups are moving into the area. Discrimination in housing-related services is also illegal. This includes denying access to real estate services, such as brokers or multiple listing services, as well as imposing unequal terms for home loans or insurance. In addition to clearly illegal actions, the plan emphasizes the importance of recognizing more subtle forms of discrimination. Statements such as, "I don't think you'd be happy in this neighborhood," or "that apartment was just rented, but you can try again later," may signal discriminatory intent, particularly if they are used selectively. Officials say raising awareness about these types of statements can help residents better understand their rights and identify when those rights may be violated. When a complaint is filed with the town's fair housing officer, an initial effort may be made to resolve the issue through informal methods such as mediation, conciliation, or negotiation. If a resolution cannot be reached, the complaint can be referred to state or federal agencies for formal investigation of enforcement. Town officials say the ultimate goal of the Fair Housing Plan is to create a more inclusive and equitable community by ensuring that all residents have access to safe, affordable housing without fear of discrimination. By combining education, enforcement, and collaboration, the town hopes to expand housing opportunities and strengthen protections for current and future residents alike. If you are discriminated against, contact James Hartz, Hartz, Fair Housing Officer, Town of Tonawanda Office and Planning Development at 169 Sheridan Parkside Drive, Tonawanda, or you may call 716-871-8847, extension 1. Article from the front page of the Kenton Bee. Former DA John Flynn eyes Tonawanda supervisor position, by Chitra Selvaraj, editor. Former Erie County District Attorney John Flynn has announced his interest in serving as supervisor of the town of Tonawanda following the forthcoming resignation of current supervisor Joseph Eminger, who is expected to step down on May 13th. Flynn, a longtime public servant with deep roots in the Tonawanda community, is seeking for the opportunity to return to local government and continue his decades-long career in public service. Flynn's connection to the town of Tonawanda dates back more than 2 decades. After serving in the United States Navy, he moved to the town in 2001 with his wife, Deborah, a longtime Tonawanda resident. Shortly thereafter, Flynn began his legal career as an assistant district attorney in Erie County and quickly became involved in local civic and political life. My first entry into politics is right here in Tonawanda, Flynn said. In 2002, Chairman John Krangle recruited me into the local Democratic Committee, and in 2003, I was encouraged to run for the town board. I was fortunate to earn the support of the community and win that race. That was the beginning of my elected service. Flynn served on the town board from 2003 through 2006, gaining first-hand experience in municipal governance. In December 2006, he was appointed town court judge, following a vacancy created when Judge Frank Caruso was elevated to the New York State Supreme Court by then Governor George Pataki. Flynn successfully ran in 2007 and was elected as town judge. He left the bench in 2010 when he became the town attorney, a position he held from August 2010 until his election as Erie County District Attorney in 2016. He assumed the role of District Attorney on January 1st, 2017, serving nearly 8 years until he stepped down in April 2024. I've had the privilege of serving this community in multiple roles as town board member, town judge, town attorney, and district attorney, Flynn said. That breadth of experience has given me a deep understanding of how local government operates and how decisions impact residents on a daily basis. I believe that experience will be invaluable if I am given the opportunity to serve as supervisor. Flynn described his tenure as district attorney as both challenging and rewarding, noting the emotional toll that comes with the role. Being district attorney is one of the most demanding jobs in any government, he said. You're dealing every day with serious crimes such as homicides, burglaries, and assaults, rapes, robberies, situations that affect people's lives in profound ways. After 8 years, it was a time for a change. I wasn't burned out per se, but it does weigh on you over time. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Kenton Bee in place of the usual Buffalo Rocket on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Since leaving office 2 years ago, Flynn has taken time to recharge, but said his commitment to public service remains strong. I've spent 30 years in public service, starting with the Navy, continuing as a prosecutor, a judge, a town official, and as district attorney, Flynn said. Public service is part of who I am. Over the past 2 years, I've had the chance to step back, but I've realized how much I miss it. It's in my DNA, and when an opportunity like this arises, it's something I feel compelled to pursue. The upcoming transition in leadership presents both an immediate and long-term decision-making process for the town of Tonawanda. The town board is expected to appoint an interim supervisor to serve through the remainder of 2026. A special election will then be held in November, concurrent with the general election, to fill the remainder of Eminger's term. The process involves both party nomination and board appointment. While both major political parties are expected to endorse candidates for the November election, the Democratic Party will play a key role in recommending a candidate for the interim appointment. Ultimately, however, the town board retains the authority to appoint any qualified individual. A vote on the appointment is anticipated at the town board meeting scheduled for May 18th. If appointed, Flynn would be required to run in the November special election for a one-year term, completing the remainder of Eminger's tenure. The individual elected in November would then need to run again in 2027 for a full 3-year term, after which the office would return to its standard 4-year cycle. Flynn emphasized that public safety is paramount. Without a safe community, nothing else matters. Whether we're talking about economic development, education, or quality of life, none of those can thrive if people don't feel secure. My first priority will always be to ensure that residents of the town of Tonawanda continue to live in a safe and secure environment. In addition to public safety, Flynn outlined a vision for economic development centered on the town's waterfront, which he described as a critical asset with untapped potential. When you look at the broader region, you see significant investment and revitalization happening along the waterfront in Buffalo to the south and in the city of Tonawanda and North Tonawanda to the north. The town of Tonawanda sits right in the middle. We have a unique opportunity to serve as the link between these thriving areas. Flynn pointed to ongoing projects, including development efforts at Cherry Farm and the Huntley site, as examples of progress that is currently underway. Flynn stated that the foundation has already been laid, and with a comprehensive, forward-thinking approach, our waterfront can be made into a vibrant destination, one that connects seamlessly with our neighboring communities. This corridor could rival waterfront developments anywhere in the country. Flynn has also received early support from members of the town board. Councilmember Jill O'Malley publicly endorsed his potential candidacy, citing his leadership qualities and experience. I am very pleased to offer my support to John Flynn for supervisor of the town of Tonawanda, O'Malley said. I had the opportunity to meet with John and came away impressed by his thoughtful approach and his understanding of the issues facing our community. He is a confident and capable leader who is ready to get to work. At a time when political division is so prevalent, I believe John brings a sense of fairness and balance that will benefit our town. Flynn, who resides in Tonawanda with his wife, raised his 5 children in the community. My immediate focus is on earning the trust and support of the local Democratic Committee and the members of the town board, Flynn said. That trust is essential, and I am committed to demonstrating that I am the right person for this role. He added, if I have the honor of being nominated and appointed, then I am excited for this opportunity, and I am excited for what lies ahead for the town of Tonawanda. The police blotter of April 30th issue of the Kenton Bee, Village of Kenmore, Friday, April 17th. A delivery driver reported a gas meter that appeared to have been struck and leaking. The Kenmore Volunteer Fire Department and National Fuel responded, and the gas was shut off. Patrol was unable to contact the homeowner. Saturday, April 18th, a church reported a woman wearing a red coat with dreadlocks loitering and asking people for money. Patrol checked the area but was unable to locate her. A caller reported a dog in a vehicle that appeared to be in distress. Patrol located the vehicle and determined the windows were open and the dog was not in danger. Sunday, April 19th, a man flagged down an officer to request a welfare check on his daughter who was not answering her phone. Patrol made contact and found she had fallen asleep. A resident reported a loose dog in his backyard with no collar or tags. The dog was described as a tan, red-nosed male pit bull about 2 years old with a black patch. Patrol began transporting the dog to a shelter when the owner called to report it missing. The dog was returned to its owner. Monday, April 20th. A woman requested police stand by while a man retrieved his belongings from her residence. She was not present at the time. The man was advised to take only personal items such as clothing and that removing other property would be a civil matter. The woman was advised to call back if issues arose upon her return. Tuesday, April 21st. A caller expressed concern about 2 Rottweilers at a residence, stating they were kept behind a small driveway gate and one nearly jumped over it. The caller was worried for pedestrians in the area. An animal control officer responded. Wednesday, April 22nd, a woman reported she may have been the target of a phone scam. She did not lose any money and was advised to monitor her credit. Thursday, April 23rd, an anonymous caller reported a dog barking outside for several hours on Wardman Road. Patrol contacted the owner, who said he had let the dog out while watching a movie and fell asleep. He brought the dog inside after being advised of the complaint. Town of Tonawanda. A woman reported that while at a car wash, someone in a white vehicle pulled up and stole her purse from the front seat. A larceny report was filed. Sunday, April 19th. Hotel staff reported a dispute with guests attempting to check in early. The guests became upset when staff explained they could not accommodate early check-in or issue a refund due to a third-party booking. They were advised to contact the booking website for a refund. The guests apologized and left without further incident. Monday, April 20th. A food delivery driver reported being bitten by a dog at a residence on Fairfield Avenue over the weekend. The resident was issued an appearance ticket for violations including leash law, bite, chase, and harassment. Store staff reported a man took merchandise and left the store. He was described as wearing a gray hoodie and jeans. The employee stated a manager was not on site and was unsure whether charges would be pursued. She was given a complaint card and advised to follow up if needed. Tuesday, April 21st. A woman reported her purse was stolen at a location on Sheridan Drive. A larceny report was filed. Another caller reported her vehicle's front license plate had been stolen. A report was filed and the plate was entered as stolen. Wednesday, April 22nd, a woman reported that a handmade white wooden cross with pink and white flowers placed at her parents' grave went missing sometime between April 12th and April 19th. Cemetery staff stated grounds had not been serviced since April 4th. The grave is located in a secluded area without camera coverage. Thursday, April 23rd, a property manager reported that an evicted tenant may have damaged newly installed hallway cameras. The cameras were not yet powered and no clear damage or evidence of tampering was found. He was advised to activate the cameras and report any further issues. A caller on Dexter Terrace reported finding a large pile of syringes in a rear parking lot while cleaning for Earth Day. Patrol collected the items and disposed of them safely in a Sharps container at the paramedic garage. Kenmore West High School recently welcomed back Sammy Violante, an influential motivational speaker and youth counselor who is also a member of the Kenmore West Corridor of Honor. He took to the stage to share the story of how a mental health condition destroyed his thriving career in the financial sector, which ended up being a turning point in his life for the better. Students responded positively to Violante's high-energy presentation, which combined his personal story with a message encouraging them to pursue their passions and to find success by the positive impact they have on others. He has delivered the presentation more than 2,500 times at hundreds of organizations and approximately 150 schools, offering his services free of charge. 1 week after his visit to Kenmore West, Violante was featured on WGRZ Channel 2's Selfless Among Us segment in recognition of his outreach and community impact. Finding your purpose and following your passion are the keys to true and everlasting happiness in life, he says, and life is truly not important unless it positively impacts the lives of others. He was a 1971 graduate of Kenmore West High School. And initially was going to become a teacher. However, limited job opportunities at the time led him to pursue a different path. He went on to graduate from the University at Buffalo School of Management in 1975 and began a career in investment banking. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the April 30th issue of the Kenton Bee. As a substitute for the Buffalo Rocket that is usually read and heard at this time and every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. because the Buffalo Rocket was unavailable for us this week. Your reader has been Elizabeth Ortel. Thank you for listening.
Good morning. Welcome to another broadcast day in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, a private not-for-profit organization. Radio Reading volunteers broadcast daily readings of newspapers, magazines, and books to people throughout Western New York who are blind or have a print disability. Our phone number here is area code 716-821-5555. Our agency website is nfradioreading.org. As always, please stay with us for our reading of awful news is coming up next, and feel free to contact us with any comments, suggestions, or any questions you may have.
The following program is